Most men believe attraction disappears because time passes. They think the years have stolen the excitement. They think familiarity has killed desire. But what if I told you that desire rarely dies from time? It dies from predictability. It dies from emotional dependency. It dies when a man slowly abandons the very qualities that made him attractive in the first place. Listen carefully. People are naturally drawn toward those who possess direction, conviction, and purpose. A person who wakes up every day with something meaningful to pursue carries an energy that others can feel without a single word being spoken. Many men make the mistake of centering their entire existence around a relationship. They stop building. They stop learning. They stop growing. They stop dreaming. And then they wonder why the spark disappeared. But attraction has always been connected to movement. Water remains fresh because it flows. A tree remains alive because it continues to grow. And a man remains compelling when he refuses to become stagnant. The fastest way to rekindle her feelings is not through begging for affection. It is not through endless conversations asking what is wrong. It is certainly not through trying harder to convince someone to desire you. Desire cannot be negotiated. It can only be inspired. And inspiration begins with becoming the best version of yourself. Start investing in your body. Walk with confidence. Take care of your appearance. Speak with intention. Keep your promises. Become someone whose words carry weight because your actions consistently support them. People notice discipline. People respect consistency. People admire those who continue improving even when no one is watching. But there is another truth many overlook. A woman's heart often responds to emotional safety. Not pressure. Not guilt. Not emotional chasing. Safety means she feels free to express herself without fear of criticism. Safety means she can be vulnerable without being judged. Safety means she can experience your strength without feeling controlled by it. Strength is not dominance. Strength is patience. Strength is listening when you would rather argue. Strength is remaining calm when emotions become intense. Strength is knowing who you are without needing constant reassurance from someone else. There is wisdom in understanding that attraction is deeply connected to energy. When your presence feels heavy with neediness, people instinctively pull away. But when your presence communicates peace, confidence, and genuine joy, people naturally move closer. Become a source of positive experiences. Laugh more. Create memories. Suggest new adventures. Take a different route home. Plan a simple evening under the stars. Learn something together. Break the routine that has silently drained excitement from your connection. Monotony is often the hidden enemy of passion. Excitement returns when life feels alive again. And perhaps the most powerful principle is this. Never abandon yourself in an effort to keep someone else interested. Continue pursuing your goals. Continue developing your talents. Continue building a life that inspires you. Because there is something deeply attractive about a person who loves others while still honoring their own purpose. When you know your value, you stop chasing. When you stop chasing, you stop acting out of fear. When fear disappears, authenticity emerges. And authenticity has a magnetic quality that cannot be copied. People can sense when someone is trying to impress them, but they can also sense when someone is simply comfortable in their own skin. Become that man, the man who walks with quiet confidence, the man who speaks with sincerity, the man who chooses growth over resentment, the man who understands that genuine attraction begins long before physical intimacy. It begins with admiration. It begins with respect. It begins with seeing someone fully alive, fully engaged, and fully committed to becoming better every single day. So stop asking yourself how to make her want you again. Ask yourself a better question. Have I become someone who inspires curiosity? Have I become someone who leads with purpose? Have I become someone whose presence brings peace instead of pressure? Because the fastest way to rekindle attraction is not by trying to change another person. It is by transforming yourself into the man you were always capable of becoming. And when you do that, whether attraction returns or not, you will have already won. Because a person who possesses purpose, discipline, and self-respect never truly loses. They simply continue growing. And growth itself is one of the most attractive forces in the world. Many men unknowingly weaken attraction by making a relationship the center of their entire existence. At the beginning, they were driven, ambitious, and focused on their own goals. They had hobbies they enjoyed, friendships they maintained, and dreams they were actively pursuing. They carried themselves with confidence because their sense of worth came from within. But once they become emotionally invested, some slowly start abandoning the very things that once gave them energy and identity. Their schedule begins revolving around one person. Their mood depends on the amount of attention they receive. Their happiness becomes tied to text messages, compliments, and reassurance. Without realizing it, they begin seeking validation instead of living with purpose. Validation seeking often shows up in subtle ways. It can be constantly asking if everything is okay, needing frequent affirmations of love, or changing opinions and behaviors just to avoid conflict. It can mean saying yes to everything, suppressing personal needs, or sacrificing long-term goals to gain approval. While these actions may seem loving on the surface, they can gradually diminish the sense of individuality and strength that initially attracted someone to you. People are naturally drawn to those who possess direction and passion. There is something captivating about a person who wakes up with a mission, works diligently toward meaningful objectives, and finds fulfillment in personal growth. Such individuals radiate confidence because they know their value is not determined by another person's acceptance. They enjoy companionship, but they do not depend on it to feel complete. This mindset creates a healthier dynamic because affection becomes a choice rather than an event. Reclaiming your purpose does not mean becoming distant or emotionally unavailable. It means remembering who you were before you started measuring your worth through someone felt. Reconnect with activities that challenge and inspire you. Invest time in improving your physical health, developing new skills, advancing your career, or pursuing creative interests that bring satisfaction. Spend time with supportive friends and family members who remind you of your identity beyond the relationship. As you become more engaged with your own life, your energy changes. Conversations become more interesting because you have experiences to share. You carry yourself differently because your confidence is rooted in achievement and self-respect rather than external praise. You stop monitoring every interaction for signs of approval and begin showing up as your authentic self. A person with purpose does not chase attention because they are already occupied building a meaningful life, and that quiet sense of direction often becomes far more attractive than any attempt to win someone's affection. Many people assume that attraction grows through persistence, grand gestures, or repeatedly asking for reassurance about the relationship. In reality, genuine desire often flourishes in an environment where a person feels emotionally safe, respected, and free to be themselves. Emotional safety is one of the most overlooked elements in maintaining connection because it cannot be forced, demanded, or negotiated. It is created through consistent behavior, patience, and understanding. When someone feels pressured to respond in a certain way, explain their emotions before they are ready, or constantly defend their feelings, they naturally begin to withdraw. Pressure can take many forms. It may be repeated questions about why they seem distant, attempts to guilt them into showing affection, or becoming upset whenever they need time alone. Even well-intentioned efforts to solve relationship problems immediately can sometimes make the other person feel overwhelmed rather than supported. Desire struggles to survive in an atmosphere where every interaction feels like an obligation or a test. Creating emotional safety begins with listening without preparing a counter-argument. It means allowing someone to express frustration, uncertainty, or vulnerability without immediately trying to fix everything. People want to feel heard before they are advised. They want to know that their thoughts and emotions can exist without being criticized, dismissed, or used against them later during disagreements. Respect also plays a significant role in emotional security. Respect means honoring boundaries, accepting differences in personality, and understanding that every individual processes emotions differently. Some people need time to reflect before discussing sensitive issues. Others communicate more openly and spontaneously. Recognizing these differences prevents unnecessary conflict and demonstrates maturity. Instead of demanding immediate answers, a confident person remains patient and trusts that meaningful conversations can happen when both individuals are comfortable. Another important aspect of emotional safety is consistency. Unpredictable behavior can create anxiety and uncertainty. Being warm and affectionate one day and cold or resentful the next leaves people unsure about what to expect. Consistency means following through on promises, maintaining composure during stressful moments, and responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Over time, this reliability builds trust and allows a deeper connection to develop. Emotional safety does not mean avoiding difficult conversations or pretending everything is perfect. It means approaching challenges with empathy rather than accusation. It means choosing curiosity over judgment and understanding over control. When someone feels accepted for who they are, without fear of being shamed or manipulated, they naturally become more open, relaxed, and emotionally engaged. In that environment, affection is more likely to emerge freely because it is no longer burdened by pressure, expectations, or fear of disappointing another person. Attraction often fades, not because love disappears, but because life becomes painfully predictable. In the beginning of a relationship, everything feels fresh and exciting. Conversations last for hours. Small gestures create powerful emotions, and each meeting carries a sense of anticipation. Over time, however, routines begin to dominate daily life. The same schedules repeat week after week. Discussions revolve around responsibilities, and interactions become mechanical rather than meaningful. Without realizing it, two people can start existing side by side while slowly losing the sense of discovery that once connected them. Human beings are naturally stimulated by novelty. New experiences activate curiosity, create memorable moments, and break the monotony that can quietly erode emotional connection. This does not mean constantly planning extravagant vacations or spending large amounts of money. In many cases, the most effective changes are simple and intentional. Taking an evening walk in a different neighborhood, trying a new restaurant, learning a skill together, or planning an unexpected outing can introduce a sense of freshness into the relationship. These moments remind people that life can still surprise them, and that being together can be enjoyable and inspiring. Positive energy is equally important. People tend to gravitate toward those who make them feel lighter, calmer, and happier. If most interactions are filled with complaints, criticism, or discussions about problems, emotional exhaustion can begin to replace excitement. This does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending difficulties do not exist. Rather, it means making a conscious effort to bring enthusiasm and optimism into shared experiences. Humor, playful teasing, genuine compliments, and moments of laughter can significantly change the emotional atmosphere between two people. Confidence also contributes to this renewed sense of attraction. A confident person does not constantly seek reassurance or depend on another person's reactions to determine their mood. They maintain their interests, pursue personal goals, and approach life with curiosity and enthusiasm. This attitude creates an appealing contrast to emotional dependence because it demonstrates independence and self-respect. Someone who continues growing and exploring life remains interesting, even to those who have known them for years. Being unpredictably positive does not mean becoming inconsistent or unreliable. It means refusing to let routine define every interaction. It means occasionally sending an encouraging message for no reason, suggesting an activity that has never been tried before, or bringing a sense of adventure into ordinary moments. Small acts of spontaneity communicate that the relationship is still alive and evolving. When people experience novelty alongside emotional comfort, they often begin associating each other with excitement and possibility again, allowing admiration and attraction to gradually return in a natural and effortless way. One of the most effective ways to reignite admiration and attraction is to improve yourself, quietly, without making announcements or seeking recognition for every effort. Many people fall into the trap of trying to convince others that they have changed. They talk about their new habits, repeatedly mention their goals, or expect immediate praise for making small improvements. Yet genuine transformation is most powerful when it is demonstrated through consistent actions rather than explained through words. People naturally notice changes that are authentic and sustained. When someone becomes healthier, more disciplined, and more confident, these qualities reveal themselves over time. They can be seen in the way a person carries themselves, the energy they bring into a room, and the manner in which they handle responsibilities and challenges. True self-improvement does not require constant updates or public declarations, because its effects become visible without needing an introduction. Physical health is often the first area where positive changes are recognized. Taking care of your body sends a message that you value yourself and your future. Regular exercise, Proper nutrition and adequate rest contribute not only to appearance, but also to emotional stability and mental clarity. A person who feels strong and energetic tends to communicate differently, move with greater assurance, and approach life with more enthusiasm. These subtle shifts can significantly influence how others perceive them. Communication is another area where quiet improvement can have a profound impact. Instead of reacting impulsively during disagreements, a person can learn to listen carefully, pause before responding, and speak with intention. Rather than raising their voice or becoming defensive, they can remain calm and focused on understanding the other person's perspective. These changes often make conversations more productive and create a sense of emotional maturity that others appreciate. Discipline extends beyond fitness and communication. It includes honoring commitments, managing time effectively, and maintaining standards even when no one is watching. A disciplined person follows through on promises, handles setbacks with resilience, and continues working toward meaningful goals, regardless of external validation. This consistency builds trust, because people begin to see someone whose actions align with their words. Perhaps the most important aspect of self-improvement is that it should be pursued for personal growth, rather than to gain someone's approval. When improvement becomes a strategy solely to win affection, disappointment is likely if the desired response does not occur. However, when growth is motivated by self-respect and a desire to reach one's potential, it creates lasting confidence. Over time, others often begin to admire these changes because they sense authenticity. They recognize a person who is evolving, not to impress anyone, but because they genuinely believe they are capable of becoming better than they were yesterday. Many people misunderstand masculine presence and assume it is about being dominant, controlling, or emotionally detached. In reality, one of the most attractive qualities a person can possess is the ability to remain calm, steady, and grounded regardless of what is happening around them. A strong presence is not measured by how loudly someone speaks, how often they demand attention, or how aggressively they defend their opinions. It is measured by their ability to maintain composure, think clearly under pressure, and respond thoughtfully when emotions run high. Relationships inevitably encounter moments of tension. Misunderstandings occur, expectations are not always met, and emotions can become intense. During these moments, many individuals react impulsively. They interrupt, become defensive, raise their voices, or say things they later regret. These reactions often escalate conflicts and create emotional distance. On the other hand, a person who remains composed communicates a sense of stability that others can rely on. They do not panic when problems arise because they understand that temporary difficulties do not define the entire relationship. Calmness should not be mistaken for indifference. Remaining emotionally grounded means acknowledging feelings without allowing them to dictate every action. It means being able to experience disappointment, frustration, or uncertainty while still choosing responses that align with personal values. Someone who can pause before speaking, ask questions instead of making accusations, and seek understanding rather than victory demonstrates a level of emotional maturity that naturally earns respect. Decisiveness is another important aspect of a grounded presence. People tend to feel more secure around someone who can make thoughtful decisions and take responsibility for them. This does not mean refusing input or insisting on having complete control. Instead, it means being willing to lead when necessary, offering direction during uncertain moments, and showing confidence in one's choices. Constant hesitation, fear of displeasing others, or seeking approval for every small decision can gradually weaken the sense of security within a relationship. Being emotionally grounded also requires a strong sense of identity. Individuals who know who they are do not become consumed by another person's changing moods or opinions. They maintain their values, priorities, and personal standards even when facing criticism or rejection. They understand that self-worth cannot depend entirely on external validation. Because they possess an inner foundation, they are less likely to become needy, clingy, or overly reactive. This steady energy often has a calming effect on others. People naturally feel safer expressing themselves when they know they will not be met with anger, unpredictability, or emotional outbursts. They become more willing to communicate openly because they trust that disagreements can be handled with patience and respect. Over time, this sense of reliability creates deeper emotional connection, strengthens mutual respect, and fosters an environment where admiration and attraction can grow naturally. One of the most common mistakes people make in relationships is allowing their entire world to shrink around one person. They gradually stop pursuing personal interests, spend less time with friends, and abandon goals that once gave them excitement and fulfillment. At first, this level of devotion may seem like a sign of love, but over time it can create an unhealthy dynamic where one person's happiness becomes completely dependent on another's attention and approval. When individuality fades, attraction often begins to weaken because there is little left to discover, admire, or anticipate. Healthy independence does not mean becoming emotionally distant or acting as though a relationship is unimportant. It means maintaining a balanced life that includes meaningful pursuits beyond the sum. Partnership. People are often drawn to those who possess a sense of purpose and enthusiasm for their own journey. Someone who continues learning, creating, building, and growing communicates that they are a complete individual with their own identity. This independence can make interactions feel more refreshing because each person brings new experiences, ideas, and perspectives into the relationship. Personal goals play an important role in preserving this sense of individuality. Whether someone is working toward career advancement, improving physical fitness, developing artistic skills, or pursuing educational opportunities, these ambitions provide direction and motivation. They also create opportunities for personal achievement, which strengthens confidence and self-respect. A person who remains committed to their aspirations demonstrates discipline and pace, qualities that others often find inspiring and attractive. Friendships are equally important. Spending time with supportive friends helps maintain emotional balance and prevents excessive dependence on a romantic partner for every social and emotional need. Friends offer encouragement, different viewpoints, and moments of enjoyment that contribute to overall well-being. Maintaining these connections shows that a person values community and understands the importance of having a diverse support system. Passions and hobbies also contribute to a sense of mystery and curiosity. Whether it is playing an instrument, hiking, writing, cooking, traveling, or participating in sports, engaging in activities that bring genuine satisfaction allows a person to remain vibrant and interesting. People naturally become curious about someone who is deeply engaged in experiences that excite and challenge them. It reminds others that there are still layers to discover and stories yet to be shared. Healthy independence creates space within a relationship. Instead of constantly seeking reassurance or demanding attention, each person has the freedom to miss the other, appreciate shared moments, and reconnect with renewed energy. This balance prevents feelings of suffocation and allows affection to develop more organically. When someone sees that their partner continues to live a meaningful and fulfilling life, while still offering love and commitment, admiration often grows because they are witnessing a person who chooses connection without sacrificing their own identity. In the end, rekindling attraction is not about chasing affection, forcing emotions, or becoming someone you're not. It is about returning to the man who lives with purpose, carries himself with confidence, protects emotional peace, and continues growing regardless of circumstances. When you stop seeking validation and start building a meaningful life, you become someone worth admiring again. And whether her desire returns tomorrow, months from now, or not at all, you will have gained something far more valuable, a stronger mind, a deeper sense of self-respect, and a life that inspires both you and those around you. Remember, the most attractive man in any room is not the one begging to be chosen, but the one who has already chosen to become his best self. Thank you for spending these moments with me today. If this message spoke to you, take one lesson from it and begin applying it immediately. Growth happens through action, not intention. Keep moving forward, stay disciplined, and never stop becoming the person you were created to be. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay focused on your purpose, and keep striving for greatness.